We're live. Hey y'all, how are you doing? I'm so excited to be back with you with Conversations with Slayers. Whoop, whoop, whoop. We were off for about a month, but we are back and ready to slay, getting ready for this conference. It's going to be awesome. And tonight we are joined by Miss Renee, who is going to be one of our awesome conference speakers. So I'm so excited to have you here, Renee.
Hey, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited about this.
This is going to be cool. So we are going to. Oh, what's going on with my light today? She looks all bright and cheerful. I look like am I asleep over here? So we're gonna roll because that's how we do. But you know how we always started out, y'all. Y'all know, and Renee, I don't know if you've had a chance to see any of my shows previously, but what we always start out with our sleigh song. Yes, we have a sleigh song. So we do a little, get into it just a little bit. So no pressure, no
Okay.
pressure. But I will say the conference, there will be music. So, you're going to need to start practicing if you're
Come
not
on.
ready.
Okay. I can do that.
Okay. Here we go. Let's hope everything works today. Slay. You hear it? Slay. Tell me how you slay, Renee.
I can't really hear the song, but I'm just gonna move.
All right. Yes. Yes. All it says is we slay. We slay, we slay, we slay. Dang. That's what we do, y'all. So again, so excited to have Renee here. So excited to get started. So we are. So we know whenever we come on, we always start with our seeing how you've been slaying. What's going on with you. Let me get my little thing here. I was telling Renee that my printer and actually a bunch of other computer type stuff went out this week. And I was like, somebody's just not trying to let me slay in my greatness. And so I'm having to run around a little bit, y'all. Just a little bit, just to get stuff going. Let's see here. So we usually start with our slay affirmation. Give me just a second. I should know it by heart, but I'm tired today. So actually, let's start with this and we'll come back to it till I can remember what it is in just a second. So we always look at what's gone well, how you've been slaying. Tribe takes care of tribe, and we've got to check in on each other. And so I used to start with my slaying celebrations, is what we call it, Renee. And so I will start out. And so what I have to celebrate since the last time, Slay and Snap celebrations. The last time was, well, I'm still here. That's a good thing. And I was just telling Renee that I've been working on a year-long initiative for a major rollout at my job, and we rolled it out this week. Yesterday it started, and now we're doing the training for the system part, and we rolled out the process, and it goes across the institute. And so I'm sort of like, this weekend I am crashing. It's been a lot of days, a whole lot of nights, and weekends. The last few weeks, so I don't even know what to do with myself now. I'm not having to do stuff.
Well,
I'm going to ride.
congratulations. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
And then, of course, I've been popping on for the conference, but y'all, we're in full force. People are registering, signing up. There is still time. Hopefully, you were able to grab that special Labor Day to celebrate us resting, which I will do this weekend. So excited for that. So celebrating that our one of my good girlfriends, she became I think she calls it a grandma. She refuses to go by granny or grandma. Grandma, but she sent me a picture
must still
today.
be young.
So, yeah. Yo, what you talking about? Sent me a picture of one of my, many godchildren, great godchildren. So Rashad and your fiance, happy birthday. Congratulations on the little girl, somebody else for me to spoil. So I'm celebrating those. Okay, Renee, you have anything you want to celebrate and share?
Yeah, so Definitely want to celebrate just being able to participate in the SLAAY conference. I'm excited, super excited about that. I'm really grateful and honored for you having me as a speaker. Also want to
Yes.
celebrate my first. I'm an author, so I'm co-authoring. It's a women's empowerment guide called "She Said Yes to Herself Unapologetically." Um,
Yes.
and with that, I've just been making some shifts in my coaching business. I initially was focusing on high achieving women, and I still am, but I'm gearing towards my military because I'm a veteran. So I feel like that's the audience that I really connect with. So I'm really excited, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm really pumped up about that transition. You know,
Yes.
play on words.
I got you. I got
So, and I'm just, I'm really just grateful to God because He's just opening doors, blessing me, put me in spaces with women like you.
you.
And,
Oh,
just the more, seriously, the more doors are opening, the more I'm getting exposed, the more I'm learning, the more I'm meeting all these incredible people, especially women. I just feel like when we come together, it's just magic. It's just so
it
much
is.
magic in it, and it just debunks that whole stigma, that stereotype that we can't get along, but we can.
We
We
can.
can, and we empower each other. Like you said, I'm checking in on you, Tanika. I'm checking in on you, Renee, and that's
Hmm.
what it's all about. Just this whole sisterhood. So I'm
Yeah.
thankful.
And oh, I was just going to celebrate you and just say thank you for your service as well.
Oh
So we
yes, yes, of
appreciate that. We
course.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Um, and it can be immediate, right, Renee?
Yes.
We've known each other about what, a good month, maybe month and a half,
Yeah,
and we're
yeah.
already texting all the
And
time
we're
about
on the
what
phone
Slayers
all the
playing.
time. And I think the first night you were telling me how much you were doing, I was like, remember to take some, remember to rest. And you were like, thank you for that. I mean, it's just like you said, it's just instant, vibe, your vibe attracts your tribe, like-minded people, we connect instantaneously. So
That's right. Okay. Now that I got myself together, before we move on to the TLCs, let's go back to our Slay affirmation. Y'all, grace, grace.
yes.
And it's Friday tomorrow. Y'all know I'm usually used to Tuesdays. This is way too late in the week to be doing this, right? All right. So, Renee, our Slay affirmation goes like this. And I always ask this folks just to drop how they're feeling in the chat. So, y'all that are on, and Renee, you can speak it out, but I'll say it and then I'll say it one more time and then you drop it in there. So it goes like this: I am confident and wonderfully and beautifully made because I am more than enough. I am valuable. I am unstoppable. And I slay, I slay, I slay. Woo, woo. All right. That you got it, Renee? You good?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so.
Okay, one more time, and then you're just gonna tell me how are you slaying? Are you doing one of those or something else? I am confident
I am
and
confident
wonderfully and beautifully made
and wonderfully and beautifully made
or handsome, and because I am enough.
because I am enough,
I'm sorry, more than enough.
more than enough,
Yes, valuable,
valuable,
unstoppable,
unstoppable,
and I slay, I slay, I slay.
and I slay, I slay, I slay.
Woo! So today I'm feeling more than enough today. How are you
Yes,
feeling today?
I'm feeling more than enough, valuable, and unstoppable.
Okay, you just triple
Yes,
threat today. Go
I just
ahead,
put the
lady. Go
triple.
ahead.
Yes, dip, snap, snap,
I
snap.
love it. All right. And again, for everybody on, drop it what you're feeling, and I will make sure and share that. Okay, I see Nicole, my next level sister's on. She says she slays, she slays, she slays. Makia's on. She says, I am valuable and unstoppable. Nicole says she's feeling expected. Oh, you just waiting for the blessings to come. I love it, sis.
Yeah.
That feels awesome. Love it. Okay, so the other thing we always do, Renee, is to do our Slay and TLC, tender love and care, where we want to send some love and encouragement. Again, we're tribe. Tribe can't do this, like can't do this journey alone. And so we also want to lift people up, right? And so I know I have unfortunately several people who have gone through some losses here recently, including myself with a couple of family members. So just want to lift them up in continued prayers and just send out the love. Know that the SLAAY tribe is with you and praying for you. You're not alone in this journey, and just sending prayers to you all. Anything you want to lift up, anyone or thing you want to lift up, Renee?
I just want to, like my co-authors, I just want to, just lift them up in prayer and just, hope that we can reach as many women as we're expecting to, helping empower women, just giving them the nuggets to just live a better life, a longer extended version of themselves.
Yes, I love it. And if y'all have anything, feel free to drop it in the chat, and we'll lift that up. So I told Renee we wouldn't be on here too long unless she just really starts talking a lot. And so let's go ahead and start getting to it. Again, we'll remind you all about the No Bras Allowed Free to Slay Women's Conference. That's September 30th, and our Ladies Night Out, which is September 29th. Y'all come, as I said, people are signing up. You got to come on and join us, y'all. It's going to be so much fun and fabulous and just healing for our soul. And again, the No Bras Allowed is about taking the limits off, right? And being free to be you. Learn from some wonderful, brilliant women who are all about empowering women, right? With different areas of our lives. And so really encourage you to do that. You still have time. It's just whatever date it is, the 7th, 8th, 9th.
Yeah, you still have a lot of time. Yeah.
You got time. And like I said, Renee is the first of several of either our panelists or our speakers who are going to be coming on. So you're going to be seeing a lot of me this month. So y'all just either Tuesdays at 8 or Thursdays at 8. So, you just need to look for the announcement and jump on. Don't leave me by myself. And listen to these powerful women. And so Renee is going to be talking about at the conference around, or when we were talking about what I want her to really focus in on around her expertise. She had this book out there around, I can't find, Renee, where I wrote it down, but it was about menopause, like life changes.
Oh, yeah.
Remember the title of it? It was the title that caught my attention.
I think it was Menopause and Fitness. Menopause and Fitness.
Okay, I can't remember. It was something that so caught my attention that I was like, oh, let me see what's going on here. I was trying to find it the other day. I couldn't find it. But anyway, it hit me because it was starting to talk about the changes that we as women go through. And so I was talking to her, and she's all around self-empowerment and helping you to move through those stages and in your power. We're very similar. Approach is a little different, but similar in what we're targeting. And of course, she's all around those who were in the military as well. But what I loved about her approach to it and her background, y'all, with the physical stuff and things like that, I was like, you know what? I just had a girlfriend that called me the other day, and I was telling her about Renee coming on and talking about, the stages we go through and how do we still show up as our true authentic self and all our power, where our body's like trying to act crazy on us, right? If you're going through that, really in menopause, the sweats, the this, all this. And I was telling a girlfriend about it, and she was like, sis, you remember when you couldn't get me? I was like, yeah. She goes, I was in the hospital. I'm like, what were you in the hospital for? And she was saying that it turned out it was her going through menopause, and that it had shot her blood pressure up totally, and that she had gotten really sick and all this stuff that had put her in the hospital. She had to go to the emergency room and was there for a couple of days, and she wasn't ever on blood pressure pills, but everything it was doing to her body made her have to go on them temporarily. And so she has put in place a couple of different rests since then to make sure she was being more cognizant. And so that just rang so true with me as I'm starting to get towards the age. I know I was young and beautiful. Y'all can't believe I could go anywhere near that, right? But
you are still young and beautiful.
I am young and beautiful.
Yes,
all these kids going to college and stuff. I'm like, y'all really old, okay? But I really want us to tap into that because it does slow us down sometimes, or it can. So what are things we can do from a physical standpoint with how we are showing up with our fitness or with our foods or all that, and how that impacts us emotionally to be able to, still stand up. So she's going to focus on that. But I also want her to talk about a little bit, we will tonight, about, listen, let me see if I say this right, Renee. Empowerhood.
Empowered. No,
Say what's it?
it's just empowered spelled with the HER instead of just ER. So it's empowered.
Okay, well, y'all heard that.
With the
I think I
her.
typed it right.
So the her is emphasized because my focus is primarily women. I do coach men too, but my focus is primarily women. And it's just because, like you said, we need to empower each other. A lot of times we just don't take care of ourselves, and we need that girlfriend or that's someone that would say, hey, slow down for a bit, take a breather,
That's right.
things are going to be there tomorrow. So it's empowering her in every aspect of her life, because we just don't take breaks. Sometimes we don't even realize how fast we're going, until our body says, okay, I'm done. And then you're like, oh, okay. Then your
Yes,
brain catches up. So,
that's right.
yeah.
So let me read some of her bio to y'all, so y'all can just see how fabulous she really is. So Renea Jones-Hudson, of course, is a retired Army officer. Um, she's one of my autoimmune sisters. Now, what's this? You tell me what the name of this, because I'm about to
Oh,
mess it up.
ulcerative colitis.
Yeah, and what is that?
So it primarily affects, for me, it affects my colon, like my right. So I got diagnosed with that in 2000, and it's really a bleeding disorder, like,
Mm,
similar, but basically, and it affects everyone differently. For me,
mm-hmm,
I have to say I am truly blessed and grateful because I've met so many women, so many other people, men and women, who've had the same condition, and
mm-hmm.
I have not experienced a lot of the things that they've gone through.
That's
So
a blessing.
it causes excessive bleeding, bloating. It's very painful. I was diagnosed with moderate to severe, um,
Mm-hmm.
and thank the Lord. I was the doctor said I was in remission. I think earlier this year, she said I was in remission. So, and this is
Yes.
my second time in remission. The second time it started flaring up, it wasn't as bad as when I initially got diagnosed. So I'm also an advocate for Crohn's and colitis because they're similar. The Crohn's affects the entire digestive system, while the ulcerative colitis is localized. So for me, it was on my left sided descending colon. So,
Mm,
but and I could talk about that all night because what I did in short,
mm-hmm.
when they showed me how much of the medication I had to be on for life, I was like, as Dr. Titi would say, that is not a vibe. I am unavailable. And I I stayed on the medicine for maybe 3 or 4 months, but I was doing research to see how I could manage it. Exercise is not a thing we can do at that time,
Mm-hmm.
because it's so painful. But the medications, everything goes back to food, right? And then listening to your body. So it's just really paying attention to your body and
Mm-hmm.
doing what is going to put it in harmony.
I love that. Which is why she's also a life and fitness coach, y'all. You really got, we're going to drop her links and go check out all the awesome stuff she's offering, even virtually from a fitness perspective. And then she is a speaker. Again, we know she's going to be at our conference dropping a bunch of slaying KDs. Sabrina, hey, she said she was feeling grateful. Nadine's like,
Yeah.
I love this conversation. Health and wellness is my life. All righty now. So Renee uses her life and health experiences, as had her just share a little bit of what she had been going through, to inspire, to transform us, and empower us, y'all, as she is and take charge of our life. She says to be the CEO of what we're doing, and she's passionate about helping, as she said earlier, women and some men who are coming out of the military to really stand in who they are. Now, I'm paraphrasing here, y'all.
Yes.
Who they are,
You're doing good.
and to release the guilt and those feelings of self sabotage and the weight of trying to be perfect. Yes, we're all familiar with that, aren't we, audience?
Yeah.
and she has over 20 years of experience as an Army officer. I'm sure she has tons of stories around that. And she's skilled in leadership. And y'all know we like leadership. We cannot slay. We talk about being different types of leaders and instilling confidence. You know how we feel about that. And strength. We're all about standing in our power. I love it. And helping women to create an open and comfortable space to embrace themselves, to be able to feel vulnerable, feel seen, and feel heard. So y'all send out some love to Miss Renee as we get ready to ask her some questions. All right, let's see here. Oh, it's what's it say? It's from Nadine. The last statement was from Sabrina. Oh, okay. I'm getting confused. They using each other's stuff. So hi to both y'all. All right. So you ready for some questions?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Let's see here. What do we want to start with? Well, let's just start with the basics, shall we? What does it mean to slay, strategically live authentically as yourself? To you, and how are you doing that as part of your journey? And so we always say that it is slaying is around showing up as your authentic self, right? Showing up in all your power, doing the things to help you be, to improve your leadership and stand in your leadership, the ability for you to bounce back, the ability for you to continue to learn and equip yourself with what you need, all those different kinds of things. And as far as going to get the skills, it's really as figuring out where do you have an opportunity or an area where you're ready to dream and dream big and do that as yourself and stand in your power. So, and how you slay is going to be unique to you because it's slaying in your lane. So help us understand, what does slay mean to you and how are you using that as part of your slay journey?
Okay. So full transparency, when I was in the military, I slayed, right? Like I was I excelled. I was very good with the physical fitness piece. I was a leader. I just everything was just it was me just being able to do all the things that I loved and the challenges and then overcoming those challenges, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, when I got out, when I transitioned out of the military, I felt like a fish out of water.
Mm.
I literally was like, I don't know anything. Like, I literally lost my confidence. I
Mm.
just felt like I didn't know where to start. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do with myself because everything that I had,
Mm-hmm.
the confidence, the camaraderie, the
Mm-hmm.
resources, all of that,
Mm-hmm.
it was no longer available to me as a
Mm.
civilian, right?
Mm-hmm.
But so I still with all that I still opened up a fitness studio because for me I didn't want to go back, right? I didn't want to I didn't want to go back to the traditional. I wanted to be I've always been someone that I wanted to do my own thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not in a rebellious kind of way. It's just, I'm just marching to the beat of a different drum right now, and I just
That's right.
that's not where I want to be. No knock on it at all, but I just
Mm-hmm.
wanted to do more. I wanted to, stretch myself a little bit more. So I opened up the fitness studio, and that was very successful. I had amazing clients, a lot of who were professionals. So I
Mm-hmm.
learned a lot from them, the business side, which I knew nothing about. I opened up this studio all on the leadership skills that I knew in the army. I knew nothing about business. I didn't know anything about an accountant, a lawyer, a CRM. I didn't know anything. I was
But
just
see, that's
trying.
all about going after your dreams, right?
Yeah.
That you have saw at least at that point in your life. Okay, this is a purpose, right?
Yes.
And I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to keep slaying. I'm going to keep stepping
Yes.
as I go.
Yes.
So I'm seeing Dr. TT is telling us hi and to slay. Hey, Dr. TT, there's our coach. Hey, y'all, everybody needs a coach.
Yes.
We're both coaches, and we have coaches. So you can't do the
Yes.
journey by yourself. And I see Dr. Derica is
Yes.
on. It said,
Yeah.
"Hooyah, hooyah." Is that how you say it? Military leader. So anyway,
Poor.
I'm shouting
It's
you out.
poor.
Who? Okay, all these little syllables of stuff. She said, "Hey, and thank you for your service." So with that
Yes. Thank
said,
you.
um, where did that bring you to now? And
Yeah,
then and
so
what
that
that
brought
means
me
to
to
you to
where
slay.
yeah, so that brought me to where I am now. So at once I started not really, I got to the point where all that leadership stuff that I was just using was not going to work for the business. Okay, so I got to a point where that also took me, I just lost my confidence for a little bit. And I got in I got on I forgot what it was, a fitness thing where I got interviewed, I got featured in a fitness magazine, and part of that, I was introduced to a coach prior to meeting Dr. Tracy. And
Hmm.
that coach, I was telling him how I was feeling, and he said this remarkable statement, which I didn't like at the time, but he was like, "Have you ever considered that you're right where you're supposed to be?" And I was like, "What? This is not where I want to be." This, but
It
it's
wasn't comfortable, right?
right, but I thought about it. So from there, I recognized the value of coaching. And we talk about Dr. Tracy, but that's where all of this is how I'm slaying. You slay by learning that you need to know yourself, you need to
Yes.
understand your worth, your mindset. Like a lot of what I know now, I didn't know then, but it's because I got exposed, right? And it just kept the ball rolling. And you understand that you need to develop as a person, because once you develop yourself as a person, your business, everything in your business will fall into place. But you need to learn how to manage yourself, because if you can't manage you, how are you going to manage a business, right? So
I love it.
that
I
is
love
how
it.
I'm saying. And growth is continuous, right? It's not just okay, I'm good, I don't need. So like we both have Dr. Tracy. Dr. Tracy literally fell into my life. Like I prayed and I said, Lord, I need help. Need help, Lord. And there she was. Just, never knew her, never saw her before. And I was like, thank you. So it's been an amazing journey, because learning, you don't know what you don't know what you know until you finally know, right?
Right.
So it's like you're like, dang. So it's like you always have time to learn. You always have time to grow, and there's always more. And that's how I feel. If you're not learning, you're not growing.
Yes, I love it, Renee. That is one of our key tenets with slaying, is that we are continuously learning. That
Yes.
we can't slay unless we're continuing to open our mind to go get those skills, tools, and knowledge so that we can
Right.
actually slay. And it's a continuous journey. I can totally get where you're coming from. Mine not coming out of the military, but coming out of my doctoral program.
Yeah.
I was interviewed recently by Dr. Tracy for one of her series. Y'all can see that on my Facebook. I've been dropping those for you. And so, but we were talking about that and the impact of how has it helped you to show up where you are now? And I was just telling her, I was like, look, I didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, oh, she's going to go do all these things. And I was like, first of all, I was just glad to be done. I was
Yeah.
worn out and I had to take a break and my body was shutting down. And then when I came up for some air, I was just like, yeah, I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
I'd always been very clear on my
Yes.
goals and knew the next thing. And then I'm like, what do I do? I've hit all my goals up to that point, with school or with work or with nonprofit stuff. And I'm like, well, what do I do now?
Yeah.
And I was lost. I think what's funny is a lot of times as women, we see how we keep slaying, right? How we keep showing up. Even you said, you're like, well, I wouldn't start a business. I didn't really know what I want to do or where, but I kept stepping. And I think we do that a lot.
Yeah.
But sometimes we're lost. So I love
Yeah.
what you said is you had to take time to find you and to keep putting yourself in the places and the atmosphere
Right.
to learn. And
Right.
I had to do the same. Right. I
Yeah.
love it. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So when you think about when I came to you, it was like, and you heard that I said the conference was called No Bras Allowed, Free to Slay. What did that mean to you and how you felt you could show up at the conference and help these women to continue to learn the tribe, to know who
Yeah.
they are and the power they have?
Well, I love how you use no bras a lot, because when I take my bra off, I'm like, oh, geez. Like,
Can't stand them.
listen, it's not small, but it's just restricting. So I was like,
Yes.
and it's perfect. So, and I think a lot of times as women, we just don't let it all hang out. We're wound up tight. We're too busy watching to see what the next person is doing, comparing ourselves. So I love that title. And it's like, like from that time, I'm like, we're just gonna go out there and we're just gonna be. We're just gonna let it all hang out, and we're just gonna drop all the nuggets. Don't come with your virgin ears, because we're all grown and we're taking these and we're swinging them and we're letting them go.
That's exactly the concept. Now, Athia, one of our other speakers, she keeps telling me, Tanika, you just need the right bra. I'm like, that's not going to happen. But in
Yeah,
this case, I'm
we
with you,
don't
Renee.
want any.
Tanika
We
and
don't
throw it.
want any. Take them off.
Throw it. I love it. So, talk to us a little about what you're going to touch on in more detail at the conference around the different stages and how we can show up.
Yes. So in the conference, I'm going to talk about perimenopause, menopause, the dreaded menopause. And like, we put a lot of emphasis on that. And the unfortunate truth is that we don't get taught. It's one of those things where, like in the army, say you train as you fight. You got to get the information before we get to menopause, right? So it's one of those unfortunate things that we're not taught at around age 30, 35, which is when we need to learn about it, if nothing else, to prepare for that stage. So what I'm going to touch on is, that part of it, the education piece, that even if we don't have younger women in the audience, and I think you said we may, but
Yeah,
even
we do. We've
so,
already had some show
yeah.
up in their
So
early coming out of
we
college.
will have we will have the knowledge enough to just go and share that with them to help them get prepared, because there are some women that do experience at least medically induced menopause at that age. So just to get them prepared to where we're at, and for us older women, just understanding what perimenopause is and what menopause is for us. Perimenopause, it's very unpredictable. It's not that this whole thing, just understand that as women, we are a lot. We are a lot. We are
In the best
complicated
way.
beings, and we just have to embrace that. But it's how we take that journey. Are we going to stress about it, or are
Mm.
we going to use the tools that we have, and then just manage ourselves along the way? So that's what I'm going to touch on. I'll give some tips, and I can give some simple tips. Can
Yes.
I do that right now? Okay. So
Yes.
as far as
Drop some SLAAY KDs on us. SLAAY KDs.
so as
I
far
know
as
it's good.
most people worry about the weight loss, right? And during that stage,
Or
it's
weight gain.
the weight gain. I said weight loss.
I'm like,
She's like,
I'm
no, no,
about to
no,
lose
no, no.
weight.
But
Bring it on. Bring it
some
on.
people, very few, research shows that some people, very few though, do experience weight loss, but it's a minimal. That's why we talk more about the weight gain. But in any case, we obsess about it, but it is a normal part of that process. And once we can get that in our head, like, just expect to gain 15 to 20 pounds during that time, but you can prepare for it. If you already have it in your head, like I say, Tanika, in about 10 years, you're probably going to experience menopause. It's a natural thing to gain 10 to 20 pounds, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you can still manage that. And a lot of times we think we got to work out like hard and everything, and that's actually uh it's what's the word, I'll say it counteracts what we're doing, because you're stressing your body out even more, right? So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, and that's why I said we're not going to experience it the same, especially age is a factor, and genetics. Like, so if your mom, you can get some information from your mom. So say your mom had really bad hot flashes, that doesn't mean that you're going to have the same thing. It just gives you an idea to work with, but it doesn't mean that the same symptoms or the same things that your mom experienced, you're going to
Mm-hmm.
experience. And the truth of the fact to that is, we're exposed to a lot more than our parents were. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot more things that we can do to manage perimenopause and menopause. So as far as exercise, simple it, and this is so simple, but we make it complicated. Walk, and then strength. Do at least 2 or 3 times a week lifting weights, strength training, resistance training. I'll say that, right? And but we're at that stage. Sometimes we don't want to do high intensity and all that, because it will raise our stress levels. So just simple things such as walking, and when I coach my clients with fitness, I blow their minds when I say you don't have to do like a 1 hour in one setting. You can do
Mm-hmm.
like 10 minutes here, 10 minutes here, 10 minutes here. Like, especially if I tell them to do 30 minutes of cardio, I'm like, break it up. But
Mm-hmm.
you have 24 hours to get this 60 minutes in. So break it up, but get
And
the
you can do it
60
any
minutes.
way, right?
You can do it any way you want to. Get down and do 10 push-ups, or you do some jumping jacks, or you go walk around for 10 minutes. If you like to run, you run. But it doesn't have to be you want to do something that you're gonna be consistent with doing. You want to do
Mm-hmm.
activities that you enjoy and that you're gonna keep doing, and not something that you're gonna dread, because you feel like you have to do it. Especially if you're doing it for your health. And I think
Mm-hmm.
around our age right now, at this stage of our lives, we're not thinking about trying to look good or anything. We're trying to keep this thing off, and we want to keep it off long term. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, yeah, we want to look good too. Let's not,
Of
let's not,
course, we
let's not.
we already look good.
but, but but at the end of the day, for us, it's longevity. It's not that short term fix.
Mm-hmm. And so I'm gonna get real. See if you give some insight, because that's what we do here. We're
Yeah.
authentic and we're real. So I could probably say like about a year ago, um, my cycle or whatever, it was crazy, right? I was like, is it
Yes.
coming? Is it coming early? What age does this happen? And I was like, okay, I was talking to some friends because we need to do that. I'm very
Yes.
glad I have friends
Yes.
that I can just be like,
We don't do that
what's going on with
enough.
you?
We don't do that.
And
We
we
don't
don't. You're
share
right.
enough, and we need
We
to.
don't, because
Yeah.
I guess sometimes now we were brought up or stuff. Stuff was sort of hush
Yes.
hush, and you don't
Yes.
talk about that. Oh, I'll talk about anything because I'm
Yes.
like, what because this is what's happening to me, you know. But I was talking because my mom and my grandma, they both had hysterectomies at when they
Okay.
were like early 40s, right? And then they passed earlier in my life, and so I never got the chance. That's
Right.
something I was worried about back then, of what to expect or to experience, and don't know what their journey was with
Yeah.
that. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, reaching out to tribe and asking questions, or this is what's happening in my body. Is this right?
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not pregnant or nothing. I know that. So what's going on, right?
Yeah.
And then I know that eventually, it was very sporadic, and then it seemed like it was done. I was like, okay, let me. And then it was the mental state,
Yes.
mental thing of trying to come to term with, because I've always wanted children. It's like, okay, it may not happen the way that I
Yeah.
want it. My body may be like, no, sis, maybe somebody else, or maybe or not. But for me, that was a big thing,
Yeah.
of that. It meant an ending, possibly, of something going on. That was a lot of emotional stuff. Uh, for me, now I will say, I probably, got to my doctor for my normal thing, and she's like, "Yeah, you may be starting the para stuff." And I was like, "Okay, I've been working on this, try to get myself together." And so did all these tests, right? And like the next day, everything came back, and it's
Yeah.
been back and forth. So I was like, "What the day going on
Yes.
there?"
So, so just know that when you're without a period for at least 1 year, then you're in menopause. So it takes a whole year. So if you ever have any kind of bleeding during that time, the cycle starts all over again. So you have to be period free for at least 1 year before you can say, and even great if 2 years, yeah, you're definitely in menopause, right? But the perimenopause, like I said, it's very unpredictable, and that can actually go from anywhere from 5 to 10 years. Like you could go,
Oh
and
Lord.
yes, and it's not consistent. Like it's
Mm-mm.
inconsistent, right? So
Mm-hmm.
When I first got out of the military, so this I couldn't tell if I was in menopause because I also suffered from PTSD. And some
Mm,
of the same
mm,
symptoms, right? Are
really?
yes. So I had night sweats. I had, all of that stuff. So I was like, wait, what is this? So I was all kinds of confused, right? Insomnia, everything. I was like, oh, wait, right? So
Mhm.
so I recognized that it was PTSD at the moment, but I later actually started going through perimenopause, and
Now that's very interesting, Renee.
yes,
I mean,
yes.
I would have never equated those
And
two as something that
right,
had
and
similar traits.
right. So, a lot of times we can't just say this is this without getting checked. And that was going to be one of my tips. Definitely you want to go and get your hormones checked. If you have I have a really good doctor. I they chased me down for my wellness test. I shouldn't even say they chased me down. They called me. So
I love it.
for my wellness
Explain, why
exam.
would they
I
not
was
be coming
so
after you?
busy and I'm so glad they were so persistent. And fortunately for me, she took it up on herself, I guess because of my age, to check all my levels, right?
Hmm.
And everything's good, thankfully.
Yes.
So I was deficient in vitamin D, which I think that's the thing for me.
Me
So
too. And
right,
me.
so we have to do better at. So maybe we need to supplement that, because we don't get enough. But as
Hmm.
far as the perimenopause, and that's when she explained to me, as soon and I have to say this. So if you have any kind of IUD, and some of them they'll stop your period or make your period like
Hmm.
less hard. That you have to take that out before you can say I'm in menopause, because sometimes like that will stop your period completely. Like you won't, like the Mirena I think does that.
Hmm.
It'll fluctuate your period. But if you have any IUD, to be sure that you're in menopause, that has to come out, and then you have to go through the cycle, go through it normally. But I lost my train here. What was I saying?
I don't know. I just got with the IUD,
Oh, but as far
the
as
difference in the post
perimenopause, we
compare.
were talking about perimenopause. See, that's that old brain.
No, it's no.
No,
See, I rebuke that too. I rebuke
that's
that.
true. Yeah, we're
It
not
is.
gonna do that. We're
It's a
not gonna do that.
tired brain today.
Yes.
That's what it is. Just
But
tired.
yeah, so with perimenopause, just know that that can last for years, but it is different. It's just like with anything else that we do. It's not going to be the same for each person. It's different. Even how you get treated with hormone
Hmm.
therapy and all that stuff is different.
So we're actually starting to experience some of the things we're going to go full blown into, and
Yes,
menopause
yes,
just
yeah,
it's just more sporadic and
yeah,
random, which
yeah,
can be so disruptive
yes.
for
And
certain things,
I was reading a study, I forgot where I was reading it, but it was saying that sometimes the perimenopause is worse than the menopause. So it depends on the person, right? It depends on genetics, epigenetics, and all that stuff. And genetics is basically just your lifestyle. Like what are you doing? How you're eating? Are you watching what you're eating? Are you exercising? Are you drinking too much? Things like that affects how you experience menopause. So
Mhm.
it's you as a person really have to be honest with yourself. Am I doing the right things for my body? And to ensure that I have a good transition into, because it doesn't have to be this dreaded thing. If you're educated and you're saying, okay, you know what, I know this is what's going to happen, and you start implementing stuff, the lifestyle changes, because as much as we want it to be easy, it's not. You're gonna have to put
Mhm.
some work in, and that's just like with anything else, right? It's your life
Mhm. Mhm.
changing. Our body is changing. We're going through seasons in our lives. We have to shift. We have to.
Yes.
We may have to do more because we're older. Like I can't just get up and go run 13 miles like I used to back in the day.
Okay. Well,
I will be hurt for like.
you were a special one, because I'm not running nothing, not now and not back in the day. So, woo
She
woo
said
for
you
you.
were special. I'm just saying, the things that we used to.
No, that's not my ministry. You go, girl.
That is not your
Mm-mm.
testimony.
No, not at all. Not near that ever.
Okay.
So,
it in a different way. The things that we used to do when we were younger, and we should not be trying to look like our younger selves. It's not gonna happen.
Mm-mm,
You can't go
mm-mm,
back there. You know, we should embrace where we're at and start
absolutely.
living, as in our authentic self. Embrace our bodies, the changes it's going through. Learn it, explore. Like, what you doing today? Like, what are
That's
we doing
right.
today, body?
Well, and I think honestly, as we get older, I was looking at some pictures of when I was in my 20s and stuff. I was like, I actually look better now. Like, and I think some
Yes,
of
yes,
and I look good then too. I
yes,
was like, I look better, and I
definitely.
could see the confidence through the pictures, the
Exactly.
knowledge, and the
Yes.
experience of
Yes.
getting out there because
We
that's
do
part of the
get better
slave,
with
right?
age. We got some
Hmm.
bumps that we gotta gotta deal with, but we get better with age, and who does, like, I enjoy it, like I really do, because it's like I'm learning, but I'm kind of like that. I'm like, what are we doing today?
Okay, yeah.
What?
Well,
I
and
did
and
not.
that's and that's part of it. And so
Yeah.
we want to make sure that we are identifying those dreams. And if it's time for us to reframe our
Yes.
purpose, being really purposeful in going after our purpose, what
Yes.
being strategic, or
Yes.
strategery, as I like to say, which is a part of our slay. How are we going back and looking at where
Yeah.
we've been, really understanding where our superpowers are now because we
Right.
evolve and what our
Yes.
abilities are. And we can continue to grow them. As you said, you went to go get help. I went to go learn from others
Yes.
and get help. I went back and got another degree, but
Yes.
then kept going because I want to grow into whoever God has me to be able
Yes.
to serve whoever he needs me to serve and show up with my story. So I love I didn't know all this. Look, that's what happens for just a month. You know what I'm saying? But we still say y'all, she's been talking about truly these ebbs and flows that have happened
Yeah.
in her life, but you see her here today. That's powerful, right? And that she's using those stories, the things with her health, the PTSD from, coming after serving for our country, which that's just a whole thing in itself. She's a
Yeah.
mom, she's a wife, and she had one business, she got another business, she's taking this other one to another level, and then she does the fitness stuff too, y'all. She makes me tired, let me tell you. She makes me tired. I know she was just running around with her daughter, sending her, picking her up from cheerleading to make it here. And we all are like that. So,
Yeah.
and that's part of what this conference is about, right? And why it was so important to me to bring on awesome slayers
Yeah, I
like
love it.
Renee to share their stories, because I don't know about y'all, I draw inspiration from Renee. I
Yes.
sit here like, now I know I got my own little special. There's lupus, the one kidney, the crazy work, this, losing family early. We all have stories. But
Yes.
I always believe, even when those things are really hard for us and things like that, that it is those tests are testimonies. That
Yes.
if we are not scared, if we really tap into who we are and whose we are, that our stories can be somebody else's,
Yes, because our
to help
stories are
them
not
and to
ours.
avoid stuff. That's right.
Yes,
I love
our
it. So I
stories are not
love yours,
ours.
Renee. I
Yeah.
love it. So let me ask you this, and we're gonna get off here because we're almost at an hour. I knew it was gonna happen. I knew it. I still don't know how
So
at
you
an
were like,
hour
oh,
we're gonna have
we're
like
gonna be here
3
on 30 minutes. No. I think we're
girl.
both
Look,
talkers too. That's the problem. We both like to
we
talk.
are. Well, everybody comes out here as a talker. It's real fun when I'm trying to manage three women at one time who are all powerful, right? But this is a good subject, and we have more great subjects like this and awesome speakers like Renee at the conference. But you're not going to get all this goodness if you don't show up. Okay,
Right.
that means you need to go register to see that and see all the stuff that she's going to be offering after that. And so I want to ask you about your book. You mentioned it a little bit ago, and I
Yeah.
know there's some other awesome women who are part of that.
Yes.
Just tell us when it's coming out and stuff
So,
too.
so we're doing a cover reveal right now. I think you've seen it on Facebook. So it's supposed to come
Oh,
out
I
on.
pre-ordered it. I've already pre-ordered it.
Yes, thank you. October
Mhm.
12th is when the cover reveal is, and I think it comes out on the 15th. So I'm super excited about that. God, like I said, he just keeps opening doors. I had another friend of mine. She was like, I'm a part of this group, and you should come and be a co-author. And I was like, that was part of my goal for this year, to author a book. And I was just like, look at God, look at God.
Yes, he does.
When we call in stuff, it really does happen. And that's why I'm so grateful for the coaching that we get from Dr. Tracy, because it really just sets you in a different space, and it helps you to see past the things that you put limits on, right? And
Hmm.
once you speak it out, it'll happen. It will
That's
really
right. That's right.
happen.
So, how do you make sure? Because one of the big things at the conference is going to be around balancing all that's on our plate, right? The life, the work, and the self. So,
Yes.
how do you make sure, especially if your body's going through some of these physical changes, that you are balancing your plate, but also making rest and well-being an important part of
Yeah.
it?
So what I've been doing is I'm that person that I'll just keep going. I have to keep, yeah. And we're pretty much all of us probably guilty of it, most of us
Hmm.
anyway. So I've been slowing down. What I learned from another one of our coaches, Dr. G, is to breathe, take a breath, and that comes with stopping and walking. So, and then like I said, just taking time to 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 rest really, and slow down, because like I said, my challenge is I keep going. So I have to prioritize, right? Learn to say no to, I have so much that I want to do. I want to get into everything like a little kid, but I'm only
Hmm.
one person. And
That's right.
I've really had to come to Jesus moment with myself. Okay, Renee, these things are not going anywhere. This is just not your time. And
Hmm.
and then just be real, and it's all about really getting real with yourself, being honest with yourself. Can I really take this on? And
Hmm.
I think what I do now is I talk about capacity, right? I
Hmm.
have this I have this analogy that I use. It's really and a lot of people are not military on here, but we have our duffel bag, that big
Hmm.
bag that we carry. And a
Hmm.
lot of times when if you're a soldier, you can pack, and then there's this little thing at the top where you lock it, and then we'll
Hmm.
we'll sit on it, we do everything, and then when it's at capacity, you can't do anymore. So when I
Mm.
think about that sometimes, because that's how I feel sometimes. Like I'm at
Mm.
capacity, but I'm still trying to put this next shoe in the
Mm.
bag. I'm still trying to stuff this bra in the bag.
Mm.
Just
Throw
just
that.
leave it
Throw that
out.
back.
Just leave
Throw that.
just leave it out. So recognize where when your plate is full, and just stop eating.
Hmm.
Just stop eating. Don't eat anymore. Push the plate away, and then
Hmm.
just do what you can in that moment.
Well, that is so true, and we'll talk more about it with some women who are can give us some true KDs because they are doing 50 million things as well at the conference, and but um, part of it is really starting to be real with ourselves, like you
Yeah.
said, and saying no. I know this year I was thinking about it last night. I was like, okay, well, some major things are starting to come off. We got this conference. I'm
Yeah.
thinking, I'm planning for what's next, even though I'm like, that's giving me a little headache and stuff. But I was like, okay, I was sitting back. I saw something come up with something I was asked to lead for this year in an organization, and I said no. It was probably one of
Yes.
the hardest things I've ever said no to. One, I'm not used to turning down leadership roles. That's not my ministry, and especially stuff if it's with something that I care about, right?
Yeah.
But this year, I have said no to
Yes.
everything
And it's so
except for
empowering.
something for my business
Yes.
because that is my priority, and it's taken everything as I work another job. Doesn't
Yes.
mean that I'm still not helping with some of the causes, but I've had to pull back. How
Yes.
I've had to change how I did it
Yes.
so that I could show up with where I said my purpose is and where I
Yes.
want to go. But I was sitting there, I'm like, okay, what do I do? This is like a season that's I usually run around like a crazy person, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't have to do something. I have to
Yes.
show up or lead something this weekend. But then I realized with my body, right, and the things that are going on for my
Yes.
lupus, from no para because I keep going in and out, right,
Yes.
and stuff. I'm like, how would I have really shown up?
Yeah.
Because I
I
could have done it,
remember.
but I would have been stuffing it, as you said.
Yes, and you
So I
remember
love
your
that
body
analogy.
keeps score. Your body does keep score. Your body will tell you, "I am done. I'm tapping out," and
Shut
that's
down.
that shows up as stress. It shows up as a flare. With your lupus, with
Yep.
me in my situation, ulcerative colitis, it shows up. It just as unfortunate for some, heart attack, increased port, all that
Mm,
stuff. That's the stuff that we don't want to. That's why we have to take a pause. We have to
that's
take
right.
time to just say, you know what? No, no, like no to people, no to opportunities, and because if it's for you, it'll come back. And I had to
That's
learn.
right.
I'm not talking to you like, oh, I had this all figured out. I had to learn. No, I didn't. I had to, I had
I
to learn.
understand.
And that's why I love growing. I love and I marvel at who I am now and who I used to be. I'm
Mm,
I'm a lot more calmer, in I'm still, driven, but I'm driving with a purpose now. I'm actually in
love it.
flow. I'm actually steering the wheel. I'm not just like, looking around trying to I'm
Right. Or like you're on ice, and
yes,
if the
I
ice
got
wants to make you
control of
go
the
everywhere.
wheel. Yeah.
That's
So,
right. All
yes.
right. So give us two more slaying KDs, and then tell us how to find you and anything else outside the book that you have coming up. And then I'm going to make sure and attach all your information too. But
Okay.
two more slaying KDs as we get out of
Okay.
here.
So one of them you said is saying no. I'm a big for me that was a big thing. Learn to say no, and it's not just no to work. It's just no to yourself. Like, no, I'm not going to do that. You cannot take that on right now. And then just taking a moment to breathe, like, take a moment to pause, because we go in 10
Mm,
million different directions, and we don't just stop for a moment. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and use that time to either walk, just sit still, meditate if that's something that you
mhm,
do. But just take a moment, get away from whatever it is you're doing, and then
mhm.
just come back, regroup.
Love
Um,
it. Love it.
so where you can find me, my website is reneajones-hudson.com. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn at Renea Jones-Hudson. And Renee is spelled ReneaJonesHudson. And that's where I am. All platforms, it's the same thing. It's just my name. So
Yes, and so we had some people were like, uh, Nadine. Oh, yeah, this was actually from Nadine, not from from Sabrina. Nadine was saying she loves this conversation. She was asking how to contact your information, so thank you for sharing that. So, I think you sent me all your links, but you know what? Um, Feel free to type them in the chat, and I'll pull them
okay.
up as well, along with the link to go ahead and pre-order the book. We want people to have
Oh,
the book.
yeah, so
Okay.
on my website, you can get it on my website. I'll put that on there too. I'll just put the link to the book, and then you can just navigate the website that way.
Okay,
Let
great.
me see real
And
quick.
Nicole said this is good. Well, if you like all this, y'all, and this is just getting started, I want you to get to know Renee, hear about all her awesomeness, the journey that she has been on and is willing to go on to reach her purpose and to help you elevate and reach your purpose as well. Then you know what you got to do. What they got to do, Renee? What they got to do?
Come slay. They gotta come
Come
slay.
play at the
Get
conference.
their
At the conference.
ticket and come slay at the conference. We waiting for them.
That's right.
We are waiting
That's
for
right.
them.
That's right. No bras. We letting it all hang out. So, in other words, come comfortable for that too. And don't forget about Friday night, y'all. Friday night is going to be fun. Renee's going to be there as well. We're going to hear some smooth jazz from Shula. We're going to get some hand massages, get some essential oil smells. We'll have some food, some sippy sips, and just have some girl time, y'all. Letting go of the stress, getting prepared to learn, have fun, and do the work to elevate our slay. Renee, thank you so
Yeah.
much. We're going to take it out. You know this, right? We got
You're
to go out
welcome.
slaying and dancing. You ready? All right, here we go.
I'm ready.
Y'all have some dinner. We will be back next week on Tuesday, 8 p.m.